All right, so are you ready? Get ready to like dive into this whole world of color wars, right? Like billion-dollar brushes. We're talking big money here.
Yeah.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into India's paint market, and let me tell you something.
Okay.
It's a lot more exciting than you might think.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
it's pretty fascinating. So we're packing this video from Markets by Zero the Hindi, and things are about to get shaken up.
Oh, this is going to be good. It's like, watching a Bollywood blockbuster, but in like the business world.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So for decades, the Indian paint scene has been like dominated by these like big players, right?
Uh-huh.
Asian Paints,
Yeah.
Burger, Kansai Nerolac, they've been the stars of the show. But now, new challengers are like stepping onto the set,
Mm-hmm.
ready to rewrite the script.
Yeah, and leading the charge, we've got the Birla Group,
Okay.
making a grand entrance with their new paint venture, Birla Opus. And their goal,
What is it?
to become the second largest paint producer in India
Wow.
by the end of 2025. Ambitious much.
That is ambitious. It's like, a newcomer trying to like steal the spotlight from like Amitabh Bachchan himself.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bold move for sure.
Yeah.
And it kind of highlights a really interesting dynamic happening in India right now. So you see, the paint market is essentially divided into like two main segments, right?
Yeah.
You've got decorative and industrial.
Got it.
Break it down for me. What's the difference?
Okay. So think of it this way. Decorative paint is what you use to brighten up your home, add a splash of color to your furniture.
Mm.
It's everything you see in those vibrant Bollywood sets.
All right.
It's a lot. It makes up a massive 75% of the Indian paint market.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. And then you have industrial paint, which is more, utilitarian. It's for cars, machinery,
Yeah.
big industrial projects.
So it's like the difference between like a colorful family drama and like a gritty action flick.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it.
And when you look at the decorative paint market, that's where things get really interesting because there's this technological innovation that has completely transformed the industry.
Oh, is this what I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
Tinting machines.
Yes, tinting machines.
Okay, so I've seen those at the paint store. They look super high tech. What's so special about them?
Okay, so before tinting machines, right? Paint companies, distributors, they had to stock like huge inventories of like pre-mixed colors.
Oh, that sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It was a nightmare. But with these machines, you can create thousands of shades from just a few base colors and colorants.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a rainbow in a box.
So that sounds incredibly efficient, right? Less waste, more customization.
Exactly.
What's not to love?
Right. But here's where the plot thickens. Okay. Tinting machines aren't just about convenience. They're also a powerful tool for, like, market control.
Interesting.
And Asian Paints, being the longtime leader, they have a huge advantage here. They've got something like 75,000 of these machines already in the market.
Wow. So they've basically got a lock on like the color palette?
In a way, yes. Like many distributors are hesitant to switch brands because their existing tinting machines are tied to Asian Paint system.
Oh, that's smart.
That's a brilliant strategy, really, but Birla Opus,
Yeah.
they're trying to shake things up. How?
I don't know. How?
They're
what-
giving away tinting machines for free to win over distributors.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bold gamble.
It is a bold gamble, but it could pay off big time.
Okay, so that's a power move for sure. But why is everybody suddenly so interested in the Indian paint market? I mean, what's driving all this competition and innovation?
Right. That's a great question. It brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of this whole story. Okay, there are two main factors at play here: growth
Okay.
and returns.
Yeah.
First, India's economy is booming. More people are moving into cities, buying homes, and that translates to like a huge demand for paint.
Makes sense. More houses, more walls to paint.
Exactly. The Indian paint market is projected to reach a staggering, get this, 3,000 crore in revenue. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of some countries.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of paint.
It is a lot of paint. And the second reason,
Yeah.
profitability.
Okay.
Paint companies in India have a very impressive return on capital employed, or ROCE, as it's known in the business world.
Okay, hold on. Pause for a second. I'm not a finance whiz, okay?
Sure.
Can you explain what ROCE means?
Of course. Think of it like this, okay? For every rupee invested in a paint company, they're getting a very healthy return.
Okay.
It's a sign of a strong and profitable industry, which makes it incredibly attractive to investors and new players looking to make a splash.
So it's like a golden goose laying colorful eggs.
Pretty much. And that's why you're seeing all these new companies jumping into the fray. They see the potential for growth and profit, and they're willing to fight for their share of the pie. But the question
Well,
is,
what is it?
how will they compete against a giant like Asian paints?
It's like David versus Goliath, but with paintbrushes instead of slingshots.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, that's where I want to dive in next. How are these new players planning to shake things up? Because I have a feeling this is just the first coat in a very colorful story.
It is.
Okay, so we've got this epic battle brewing in India's paint market.
Yeah.
On one side, you've got, Asian paints, the reigning champion, holding court with their massive distribution network,
Right.
tinting machine empire. They've got it all. And on the other side, you've got these like ambitious newcomers like Birla Opus ready to challenge the status quo.
It's going to be interesting.
It is. So tell me, what are their secret weapons? Like, what strategies are they using to try and, win over consumers?
Well, it's a bit like a game of chess, really.
Okay.
Each company is like making these strategic moves, trying to outmaneuver the competition.
I like it.
So take like Birla Opus, for example.
Okay.
They're all about scale and disruption. They're not just giving away tinting machines.
Right.
They're building massive factories, aiming to like flood the market with their products.
Right.
Their CEO even said that, like, no paint company globally has ever attempted something this ambitious.
That's a bold statement.
It is.
It sounds like they're going all in on this venture.
They are.
What about the other players? How are they approaching this, like, paint showdown?
Right. So each company has like its own unique playbook.
Okay.
So you've got JSW Paints, for instance. They're focusing on like these, aggressive revenue targets.
Right.
They want to hit 6,000 crore, which is, a significant chunk of the market.
Yeah.
And then you've got JZ Black taking a different approach with their Any Color One price model.
Interesting.
So they're trying to like simplify things for consumers, making it easier to, choose and buy paint.
So it's like a buffet of options for consumers, right?
Right.
You've got the established brand, the disruptor, the revenue-hungry contender,
Right.
and the price simplifier. Okay, so who else is in the mix?
So there's also Pidilite.
Okay.
Now, this company is known for its adhesives and sealants, but they're entering the paint market
Wow.
with the guidance of, get this, a former Asian paints executive.
Oh, wow.
So they're definitely bringing some insider knowledge to the table.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, there's like, the wild card, the possibility of mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, geez.
The video mentions that Azanobel, the company behind the Dulux brand, Dulux,
Yes.
they are exploring these options.
So we could see some major shakeups, alliances forming, maybe even like a paint company version of the Avengers.
It could happen.
Okay, this is getting really interesting. But with all this focus on competition, I'm curious about something. So the video mentioned that raw material prices play a huge role in the paint industry.
They do.
How does that factor into all of this?
Right. So that's a crucial point. The cost of raw materials can like make or break a paint company's profits.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Paint is made up of like hundreds of different ingredients, right?
Oh, wow.
Pigments, resins, solvents, additives, all sourced from different parts of the world.
Wow.
So it's a complex global supply chain.
Okay, so it's not just about like mixing colors. There's a
Yeah.
whole science behind it. So what are some of the like key ingredients that like we should know about?
So the video highlights like 4 main categories:
Hmm.
pigments, resins, solvents, and additives.
Huh?
So pigments, that's what gives paint its color. Think titanium dioxide, the stuff that makes like white paint so bright, or iron oxides for those like earthy reds and yellows.
Okay.
Resins act as binders, holding the pigment particles together and helping the paint adhere to surfaces.
Got it.
Solvents thin the paint, making it easier to apply.
Right.
They can be water-based or oil-based.
Okay.
And finally, additives are like, the special sauce.
Okay.
They enhance the paint's performance. Things like antifungal agents, UV protectors, or even something that makes the paint dry faster.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's way more complex than I ever imagined.
It is.
But with all these different ingredients, which ones are like the real game changers when it comes to cost?
So the video specifically mentions 2 ingredients that have a major impact on paint companies' bottom line: titanium dioxide
Okay.
and crude oil derivatives.
Why are those two so important?
Okay, so titanium dioxide is a key pigment, especially for white paint,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a huge part of the Indian market.
Right.
The problem is India relies heavily on imports for titanium dioxide, making it, expensive and subject to global price fluctuations.
Okay.
And then you have crude oil derivatives, which are used in solvents.
Mhm.
As you know, oil prices are notoriously volatile.
Yeah.
So when oil prices go up, paint companies feel the pinch.
Oh, for sure. So it's like they're playing a game of chance with global commodity
Your
market.
side, pretty much.
That's got to be stressful.
It's very stressful. It definitely adds like an element of unpredictability to the industry.
Yeah.
That's why paint companies are constantly looking for ways to like hedge against these price fluctuations.
Yeah.
So one strategy is to like shift from oil-based paints to water-based paints, which are reliant on crude oil derivatives.
Okay, so that's a clever move.
It is.
But even with those strategies, it sounds like, controlling costs is a constant battle.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And that's why increasing revenue is so crucial for these companies.
Yeah.
They need to sell more paint to offset those, rising costs and maintain their profit margins. And that's where the battle for market share becomes even more intense.
So it's not just about creating great paint, right? It's also about having a strong distribution network.
Yes.
Savvy marketing campaigns, building those relationships with dealers and retailers.
Absolutely. And the video points out that this complex ecosystem has led to a market dominated by a few major players.
Okay.
They're the ones with the resources to build these intricate systems and weather the storms of global market fluctuations.
Yeah.
It creates a high barrier to entry for newcomers trying to break in.
So even with all this exciting innovation and disruption, it sounds like, the established giants still have a pretty firm grip on the paintbrush.
They do, but the video also hints that even their dominance might not be guaranteed forever.
Interesting.
There's a statistic mentioned that really got me thinking.
Okay, you've got me on the edge of my seat here. What's the statistic that has you so intrigued? Is it about a secret ingredient or, like a new color trend sweeping the nation?
Not quite, but it does raise some interesting questions about the future of the paint market.
Okay.
The video mentions that by 2019, a staggering 83% of Indian homes were already pucca.
Pucca.
Yeah, that is permanent structures.
Oh, okay. So I see where you're going with this. So if most homes are already built, that means fewer new houses needing that fresh coat of paint. Does this mean the paint party might be winding down?
That's the the million rupee question.
Yeah.
The demand for paint tied to new construction might plateau, but that doesn't mean the market will shrink.
Yeah.
It just means companies will need to get creative.
Right.
Think about it. How can they encourage people to repaint more often? What new trends or innovations can they introduce?
It's like they need to convince people that their walls need a wardrobe change every season. Maybe they'll start releasing limited edition colors inspired by Bollywood movies.
That's a fun idea, and it speaks to the power of marketing and branding.
Yeah.
Remember, paint isn't just a functional product, right?
Yeah.
It's also an emotional one. It's about creating a certain mood, expressing your personality, keeping up with the latest trends.
So maybe instead of focusing on just selling paint, they need to sell an experience, a lifestyle.
Exactly, and this is where those strong relationships with dealers and retailers become even more crucial.
Yeah.
They're the people on the front lines, interacting with customers, understanding their needs, recommending the perfect shade of, serene sunrise or passionate plum for their living room makeover.
Yeah, it's like paint therapy.
It is.
But speaking of makeovers, what about Asian paints? They've been the king of the hill for so long. Do you think they're feeling the heat from all these new challengers? Are they just going to sit back and watch their paint empire crumble?
Not a chance. Asian Paints is like a seasoned player, right?
Yeah.
They're not going down without a fight. They're investing heavily in innovation, expanding their product portfolio, strengthening their distribution network. They're even venturing into related areas like putty, waterproofing, and adhesives.
Oh, wow.
Which puts them in direct competition with some of these newcomers.
So they're diversifying their palette, so to speak.
Exactly.
Hedging their bets in case the decorative paint market does slow down.
They are. They're playing offense and defense at the same time.
Smart.
And they're leveraging their brand recognition and customer loyalty to, maintain their market dominance.
Right.
Remember, Asian Paints has been a household name in India for decades.
Yeah.
They've built a reputation for quality and reliability.
It's like that old saying, the king is dead, long live the king.
Right.
But in this case, the king is still very much alive And he's ready to rumble.
He is ready to rumble, and this is what makes this whole story so compelling, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about paint, right? It's about business strategy, innovation, and, like, understanding the evolving needs of consumers.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in a, like, seemingly traditional industry like paint, disruption can come from anywhere.
Yeah. And that's what we love about these deep dives, uncovering the unexpected stories behind, everyday things.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does this all mean for you, dear listener?
Well, for starters, it shows you how interconnected the world is.
Right.
Like global economic trends, raw material prices,
Yeah.
technological advancements, they all play a role in shaping even something as simple as the paint on your walls.
It's a reminder that everything has a story, and often that story is far more fascinating than we might initially think. So the next time you walk into a paint store, take a moment to appreciate the vibrant tapestry of business, innovation, and competition that brought those colorful cans to the shelves.
Yeah,
You might be surprised at what you discover.
indeed. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll be talking about your favorite shade of paint as the latest market disruptor. The future of color is waiting to be painted.
I love it. That's it for this week's Deep Dive, folks. We'll see you next time.